Hey, John here. So today we're going to do a little indoor project. So what we're looking at there is the little bit of water stain from a toilet bowl leak. And didn't notice it at first, but then when you look at the floor there, that little drip of water. So normally this would be an easy fix. Just a toilet bowl ring is no big deal. Let me take you upstairs and show you what I'm talking about. So like I said, normally it'd be an easy fix. Just unhook the supply line there under the toilet, right? And there's two bolts that hold the toilet on and get rid of the toilet. And put the new wax ring in. Well, clean up your mess here, obviously, but put the new wax ring in and reinstall everything and you're good to go. No more leaks. But today we got a little bit more of a challenge. This flange here, it's metal, right? It looks plastic in the center because it is, but the outer ring is metal. And if you could just make out on the outer ring of that slot, it's missing, right? Because it's rusted over however many years, probably 30 years. So this whole thing has to be replaced. Should be a fairly easy project, but I've got the camera. Let's see how easy it is or hard and get it done, yeah. So we do have some screws poking through that are probably most likely holding that flange down to the subfloor there. So we'll go ahead and try to find them and back them out. I doubt it though, but here's the plan anyways. So I'm going to elect to cut it here, right? Just cut it here and then use a coupler and then another piece of straight pipe and then do the 90 and just replace it all. So this should be fairly easy, but I do have to get that flange apart and we'll just be needing to buy like a 2-foot piece of pipe. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 inch. It looks like 4 inch pipe, and then one elbow, and of course the flange up top. And we should be out of the woods pretty good. But let's go clean that mess up upstairs and see if we can locate some screws. Zero luck on finding the screws. I did find one screw head, and it's basically that looks like wax or whatever, and it is a little bit of wax, but a lot of it's rust from that ring, and I don't think the heads are going to be anything that I can work with, the screw head. So what I'm going to do is take a cut-off wheel and just make some cuts, right? Because we do have a little bit of area to make mistakes with, and this is all hard tile, so I'm not worried about that, but the toilet goes around it, but I do have to get in there and get that flange out. So I'm just going to cut it out, and it's just plastic in the center, but the rusty ring is what I'm basically going to be cutting out. So, and your situation might be completely different. You might have a cement floor and no access from underneath. So this video is not going to help you out. There's obviously we're going to have access, so this should be pretty easy. So let me go get that tool and cut this thing out. So I ended up just making 4 slices, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that way I can get a pry bar in there. Started jacking it up. You can see how rusty that stuff is, and if you're trying to just get the ring out without affecting your plastic plumbing, good luck with that. The ABS stuff is so cheap that I'm just gonna not worry about that, and of course we're gonna replace all that anyways. But so prying up a little more, I found a screw, rusty guy, but it's a flathead. Like no way in hell that was gonna come out. Alright, so I'm gonna elect to cut it here, and just using a Sawzall for the initial cut anyways. Hopefully we can get it square. It's actually pretty square. So this thing did have underneath the metal flange had some tile as shims, little square pieces. But I'm assuming this is so let's see if we can get this out of here, no problem. Alright, so I still have to clean all this up. This wood is kind of compromised here. Alright, so here's the thing with this flange that I'm going to go to Home Depot and see if they get some kind of kit to raise this up, because the actual flange should be sitting on top of a finished floor, right? But in fairness to the builder, when they're building a house, the subfloor is ultimately where the flange gets set on, because they don't know at that time what kind of floor this is going to be, tile, marble, wood, whatever, linoleum, thin stuff, thick stuff. They have no idea. So that setting it on the subfloor is how it's mostly done, and then when the finish floor gets in, nobody really raises it up to, you know, take up the slack. So we're about a 1/4 inch, could be up to a 3/4 inch off. That's you know, just normal tile, so I'm assuming 1/4 inch, but that subfloor is down a little bit. But so we're probably about 3/4 inches off. You know, like I said, the flange should be sitting on top of the finished floor, and as you can see, it was in there. So when you put your toilet bowl on and you squish down that wax ring, it is connecting, it is squishing a little bit, but not as much as it should. And over time, as you can see, it kind of started leaking. But anyway, and the ring itself rusted out, so that didn't help. And not like the toilet was wobbling, but it's, you know, it's just compromised. So, all right, so we're going to be in a little pickle here. So, I went to Home Depot. They've got this flange here, which this would normally just do the trick, this alone. And there's also some spacers, right? You can add spacers. If this was sitting on the top of the finished floor, that's all we would need. If this fits in that ring, and then we added one, it would probably be just about flush with the tile, just one. And then I would add another one to get it up, you know, just that much more. Anyways, 3 would be too much. But the pickle I'm in is this thing doesn't fit in the ring. It kind of sits on, as you can see, kind of sits on the tile. So I'm gonna pickle what I want to do. I can either, it's almost, it won't fit in, but it's not quite big enough. There's little pieces that it's gonna, you know, catch on. So I'd rather have this done on the subfloor. So the options are building this up with something, right? Whether it's wood or whatever, or notching these corners, you know, not corners, but notching it out the tile to make this sit flush, you know, down on the subfloor, and it'll probably just to be about flush with the floor, and then we would add one ring, right, to get it to where we need to be, just above, you know, where it should be. So, all right, so after thinking about it a little bit, all I need to do is build that up to, you know, the height, and doing that, then we can just place this on there and call it a day. So I think what I'm going to do is take a piece of scrap, I got some scrap 3/4 inch pine, and I'll go ahead and trace this, you know, outside diameter on the wood. So I think the best thing to do is I got to get that built up, so I'm just going to I just trace this. I'm going to cut this out a little bit skinnier than the hole, and then I'll adjust it over there, and then we'll bolt it, you know, mount it. I'll countersink some sheetrock screws in, right, and then take a belt sander and get it down to the tile, you'll see. And then when I'm ready to, you know, I'll mark it from underneath or whatever. We're in the center here, and we'll just do a 4-inch hole for the pipe, and that way when this flange goes on top, it'll have something to bolt to again. That's the plan. See what happens. So I did let this dry out about a day. You know, the wood down here, it's not completely dry. It is drier underneath, but we're going to have to live with it. It'll eventually dry out. I'm not worried about that. So we're about, we got a lot of sanding to do. We got about a quarter inch up. But I'm going to take a countersink drill bit, right, and just go ahead and, because we're nowhere near where we need to be, but just to get the thing secured. And once I use the belt sander, I obviously don't want the head of these screws impeding, so you know. So there's literally no need for this next step, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm just going to throw some caulk in there just to, number one, I've got this extra little bit left, and it's going to harden up anyways. So I'm just going to eyeball this next part because the hole was already here, but you got to be mindful of you know, your toilet, if it's going to hit the wall or not, right? This was already here, but if you're doing it from scratch, I guess you're going to have to know how deep your toilet is, because it'd be nothing worse than making this hole, trying to put your toilet over it and it hits the wall. So we're just going to go with the original hole here. Looks dead center. Let's see here. Is that going to be big enough? Oh, like a glove, man. Like a glove. So anyways, let's go underneath. Now that is at the proper height, let's go underneath and do some measurements, cut some pipe, and get this thing done. So our pipe's over here. You probably can't see it, but so we're just going to use this coupler. I'm going to dry fit everything to mark it and then do it that way. Then I'll get and then I'll put the vertical pipe here, right, and get the measurement for our elbow. And alright, so I get everything dry fitted, right, and then I just marked it up right where my lines are. So when we take it back apart and glue it up, we'll be good to go. So everything's a-okay. So let's glue it up. Alright, so if you ever worked with this stuff, you know you got to be quick. Quick with the pieces. If you're not quick with the pieces, you're going to be doing it over again. Oh man, missed my mark. We can make that work. There we go. That's definitely a good fit. So there's my marks. Yeah, that works. That works. So we're on our marks. We're 12 inches, both boom for the slots here. So we're good to go. That worked out. Alright, so I don't feel the need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. I mean, we're just going to do 3. I am going to do a little pilot hole just because our wood ring, you know, don't want that to split. And again, there's no pressure on this thing, so what's the difference? Just to hold it down. I'm using 2-inch stainless screws, Phillips, not slotted. Alright, there you have it. 1, 2, 3. Thick, solid. Let's get that damn toilet on there. Alright, so I got the 2 bolts on. You know, the 2 bolts. And I put the ring down first. Proper way to do it is, you know, stick it on the porcelain first. But this is this ring can go 3 or 4 inches. And right here, this is dead center. So putting it on here, I might not get it dead center. Then when I'm, you know, trying to jockey this thing by myself, if it falls off, bloop, you know, so I do it this way, just because I think I have more control this way, but the directions do say to put that wax ring on the bowl first, so I think we're closing in here, and once I get this installed, we'll clean up everything and call this a fix. Alright, so that came out pretty good. The wood is drying out there. It was soaking wet from the leak there, but we got our new piping in and none of it leaks, which is cool. It's been about a day. And upstairs we have no leaks up there. That was pretty easy to do. You know, we just had to build that up to get it back to, you know, you want your toilet ring on top of your, you know, finished floor. And that rusted toilet ring, or you know, whatever you want to call it, the toilet flange there, that was missing a piece, so you couldn't really tighten the toilet down, and it was too low, and the wax ring, you know, developed a leak in it. So it was pretty easy to do, and now everything's at the proper level, and hopefully this will last for a long time, and we won't have to be in here again anytime soon anyways. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time. Yeah.